just wanted to share how I manifested a free place to live in the West Village of Manhattan. I live primarily in Pennsylvania, but was commuting into New York every week to build my Reiki practice. I was spending 2 nights per week at the Jane Hotel, as it didn't make sense at that time to rent an apartment full-time. Eventually, I decided that I would begin looking for a room to rent so that I could leave a few things there and not have to carry everything back and forth. I found a room that sounded great, but the price was so low I was a little skeptical that it was a real offer. I sent them an email anyway, and, as I thought, it was just a scam. But it gave me a thought: I could just manifest a perfect place to live. Then I thought, well, if I'm going to use deliberate manifestation anyway, I might as well intend to find a free place. And it had to be in the West Village, my favorite neighborhood. So right then, as soon as I had the idea, I closed my eyes right there where I was sitting and imagined that I was walking down the street laughing to myself at how crazy it is that I actually manifested free rent in my favorite neighborhood. I felt a sense of reality of being that version of myself, walking down the street thinking that thought. I did this only for a moment. Later that evening, I went to a tavern nearby my hotel for a drink. This very eccentric, interesting older lady sat down beside me. I felt so drawn to talking to her, but didn't. A few moments later, she began talking to me. Before the evening was over, she mentioned that she just knew she had to talk to me as soon as she saw me. The next week that I was in the city, I saw her again at the tavern. Yet again, we had a great conversation, and when I told her I lived part-time at the Jane, she insisted that I spent the next week with her instead of paying for a hotel. I was hesitant because I didn't want to impose upon her just to save money. But it turns out she needed my help organizing some things in her apartment, and I started to realize, just really wanted the company. I really enjoyed the company as well. She asked me, more like begged me, to just live there and forget about the Jane Hotel. I did, and it was the perfect setup. We both had company, I had free rent, she had someone to dog sit and reach things off the top shelf. So not only did I manifest free rent, but it was a situation in which I did not have to feel guilty for being there. The apartment was paid for, and had actually been left to her by her friend who died many years ago. I still contributed to the household, of course, in other ways. Mostly by way of the wine store and the farmer's market, but it was, nevertheless, free rent in the West Village of Manhattan. It was amazing how fast it happened. I met the lady I was to live with the very evening of the day I had imagined the scene, and just 1 week later, the scene had fully manifested. So what did I do? I imagined and felt into the version of myself for whom it was a reality. And I didn't drown it out with doubt and contradiction. Although, in this case it manifested so fast that I didn't have time to think a lot of contradictory thoughts. So, yeah. It can be incredibly easy when you know it is possible, and that you just have to decide to manifest it and just think the thought of it already being true. Never doubt your power. Your power lies in your ability to choose your thoughts. Choose to think as though your desire is already fulfilled, and it must become so. There is no other way it could be. The law is infallible. Your thoughts are the variable factor. Choose thoughts that match your desired reality, period.